An article published in a local newspaper stating that a lack of support from the black community cost candidate Justin Hurst the Springfield mayoral election last month is receiving pushback from that community. Welcome everyone to Western Mass News on this Thursday. I'm Chris Pisano.
And I'm Abby Carnevale. Today, prominent city leaders stood together at City Hall calling out Hurst and his father for that article published just days ago. Western Mass News reporter Daniel Santiago joins us live in studio after getting answers on the situation. Daniel, can you break down these latest developments for us?
Well, Chris, Abby, leaders from the African-American community in Springfield are hurt by the words written by Frederick Hurst, who is Justin Hurst's father. And now they're asking for him and the publication to take action and, according to them, make things right. A warning that some might find the language used offensive.
This paper does not speak for the entire black community.
That is Archbishop Timothy Paul with the Council of Churches of Greater Springfield speaking about an African-American newspaper in the city called The Point of View. On Thursday, Archbishop Paul was joined at Springfield City Hall by different leaders from Greater Springfield NAACP, clergy, elected officials, and other members of the black community, all condemning what they say are personal attacks from the publication's publisher, Frederick Hurst, who is the father of Springfield City Councilor Justin Hurst, who challenged Springfield Mayor Dominic Sarno and lost last month. The elder Hurst writing his son lost due to many black leaders not supporting his campaign.
I thought that Justin ran a good race. I really did. I thought he was qualified, but he didn't win. And so when you don't win, you start attacking people. In the story, which is titled The Worst Article I Ever Wrote, Frederick Hurst called out specific people. All black leaders in the community now claiming the messages are racist and hurtful. A section of it reading in part, they will never stop serving their master because some are simply weak by nature and others think money is God and masters control the money, which in their minds means master is God. Neither of these type of folks will ever go away. We generally refer to them as Uncle Toms. That term often used as a racial slur, meaning a black person who is submissive and serves white people. They call me the Godfather, they call me Santa Claus, and that's good, but don't call me Uncle Tom.
Now, all leaders are asking for the publication and the Hurst family to take action and make things right.
So today, we're calling for the publisher of this paper in its next month's edition, or even prior to that, to issue a public apology, a retraction of this article. And if he does not, we're prepared to approach his advertisers. We're prepared for the churches that participate to prohibit him from distributing his paper at our church locations. We're prepared to boycott The Point of View.
We reached out to the publication and council member Justin Hurst for a response. He tells Western Mass News in a statement in part, "My father's article speaks for itself. I encourage those interested in its contents to get a copy of the Point of View newspaper and read it for themselves. And once they finish, they should read it again to make sure they have a thorough understanding of it." NAACP President Bishop Talbert Swan tells Western Mass News Hurst's response is not enough.
Justin's statement only affirms what I've always said. Basically, Justin is saying, read the article, read it again, it speaks for itself. He's not condemning the vitriolic nature of it, he's supporting it. And if he's supporting it, he stands with it. And so, you know, what that says to me is all of the vitriol, all of the attacks that have gone on for the past 14 months from persons affiliated with his campaign did so with his consent and with his support.
We also reached out to the paper for a response back and have yet to hear back. Additionally, the community leaders from the church also expressed concerns about this article possibly dividing the black, Hispanic, Italian, and Irish communities across Western Mass. We'll share that coming up tonight at 6. For now, reporting live in studio, Daniel Santiago, Western Mass.